I'm excited because I finally learned how to set the sideways. So hopefully that'll make for a better experience, so I don't have to hold it so close to my face. So get the next episode of American Dad. Season 1, Episode 2, Red Devils. And I have a lot to say about this episode. It starts off promising enough, but let's see how it goes forth. So, I can say the episode's called Red Devils, which from the intro alone you would get why it's called that. But it actually has a deeper meaning behind it. So the start of the episode, I'm a little surprised they start with this actually. So threat so the Threat Devil. That's I don't know if that's an actual thing that the government has or not, but it exists in this world. It's a government regulated system that can tell you that can tell you what that can tell you the sense of disaster, the sense of dread you should be feeling or not. Yeah, there's all good, good, neutral, bad, very bad, I would guess. But it got off the episode saying the threat has been lowered. I think it's been lowered. I think it says it's been lowered to like neutral or something. But the threat has been lowered. Been lowered to the color blue, which was orange. It was orange before. I do like the joke, and I was impressed that they started with this actually. After after they revealed the threat level, someone someone comes into the branch of the CIA that deals with immigration, that keep track of it anyway. I don't know if that's the border or not, but did you keep track of immigration? So they say, oh, they just deal with the threat level. Want to pay backgammon? Do I? And on the big monitor, there's Mexico and the USA. There's the art of Mexican at the Mexican border. And they take their eye off it just for a second, and all the Mexicans just flood into the USA. I'm very surprised they did. I'm very surprised they did that. But that was not funny. But that was funny to me. We this I still don't understand how this happened, but it happens Dan brings home apparently he brings home a biohazard from his CIA work. And like I say, I don't really understand. Why do you keep coming? Okay. And like I say, I don't really understand how this happened, but he brings home a biohazard thinking it's soup, but it turned out to be a virus. And we get like I say, it turned out to be a virus, and we get the whole family in quarantine. We get the whole family in quarantine because of it. But Francine, the the mom when Hayes comes in, cause Hayes out helping the homeless, cause that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing in this episode. helping the homies that were just the reason to get out of there. See, she sees all this quarantine stuff coming on and going on in the house, and she has a biosuit on when they go to see him. She says, "Hey, how come she get to you?" Because I was out helping the homies while you're home being a user. I'm pretty sure that the Adderall. I'm pretty sure that the Adderall moved to hay. But anyway, so Steve gets upset with that comment, and he pulls these either Steve is really strong, and these things must just be really breakable. She pulls on a fresh oxygen tube, pulls it out, and builds in it. So she's infected too now apparently, and they start fighting, but Francine says, "Stop! Time is precious. We might make the most of our act 24 hours together." And they say, "Your mother's right. We're gonna sit here and watch the entire first season of 24 on DVD. I've never, I've never seen 24 myself, but but I've heard good things. I'm pretty sure I would like it." So they finished the first season, which I don't know if that was just for the joke or just with the act time, but apparently the whole season of 24 takes an entire day. So I don't know if that included bathroom breaks or not, but apparently it takes an entire day to watch the first season of 24. So after they're done, Princess Dan says, "Oh, that was bold. That was bold television." We get we get Roger coming in because as an alien he's gonna survive because he says his species are immune to all human ailments. So he's gonna survive. So he he plans to regenerate to renov, renovate the house renovate the house after they're dead, which he doesn't have a job. He can't go out. So I don't know how he's gonna do that. Is it just gonna live in a condemned house? But and that house would most likely be torn down because the virus is still inside of it. But yeah, that was just for a joke anyway. Nothing comes of it. So the final minute comes. They finished the first scene of 24 minutes before they were supposed to kick the bucket. So Stan tried to give and I like this. Stan tried to give a big heartfelt speech, like, "Oh, I've been tough on you kids, but the reason is I love you so very, very." And then Roger tried to drag a couch in because he wanted to get a jump on it. He wanted to get a head start on it. So the dead time comes around, and they see Steve sees cows. It's Yagaki is supposed to be dead because apparently he's not immune to human ailments. I don't think biology or physiology works the same for fish as it does for people. But anyway, they see him supposedly dead, but it turns out and they all scream, but it turns out he just snoozing. He just sleeping, I guess he's flipped upside down. They think he's dead. The they ride the alive. They ride that they ride that alive, which is which is really which is really good. But that kicked off the main part of the episode. Yeah, I can say it started off good, but that was just the caveat to kick off the real main part of the episode. I mean, I'd enjoy it if they stayed with the initial premise of them all having a virus and them having to deal with it, and the inevitability of death as a theme. Yeah, I'd have liked that, but like I said, that was just a caveat for a deeper meaning. And keep the title of the episode in mind. Thread levels. So they got signed and told by the director, I guess of the CDC, that the batch of viruses are nerd. So that means they're gonna be okay. But Francine is a little sad. So Francine so Dan says, what is it, honey? Well, yeah, you should be happy. And they say, I know, and that's good. But it just, when I thought we were gonna die, it made me realize how I've done with my life and everything. Which, I mean, doesn't surprise me that they would feel that they would feel that way because, and I'll get deeper into this, I'll get deeper into this later, Democrats and liberal type and the audience that the show was really made for, they've been putting down motherhood for years. So it doesn't surprise me that they would Seattle say this, even though she has a family and even though she has kids who rely on her and everything, but it doesn't. I'm not happy about it, but it doesn't surprise me that she would say something like that. So after that, she sees a realtor. More than that, she sees a woman realtor, which keep that in mind. Keep that in mind too. So she sees a realtor going around selling houses, and she says she wants to be that. Dan says, "Oh, after you to get your after you to get your rotate costume." So so he thinks he just wants the perception. He thinks he just wants the perception of being a realtor. So Francine goes up to get a job. Francine goes up to get a job. How that happened is really funny too because I mean you can't say that Dan isn't committed to his wife. Yeah, he didn't have any objections to her working, but he goes above and beyond in this instance. Because what he does, he goes to that same woman, her name is Bob, with some CIA buddies of his, and we don't really we don't really see what happened to her, I don't think. Or the end of the episode, I guess we do. But they kidnap her and they they kidnap her, but they wrap her in a sack. But before that, Dan takes the sack away. Dan undresses her with the blazer and everything, and presents Francine with the blazer. And they they kidnap her. And like I say, we don't really see what happened to her after that. I mean, she appears in later episodes, maybe even in later seasons. but we don't see what happened to after that. So apparently all you need is a behavior and confidence and you can be a realtor. So Steve, so Dan presents us with the behavior. So she's a realtor now, apparently. And yeah, I can say this could have been good if they didn't go down the route that they went. But she gets a paycheck, and it's apparently bigger than Stanton. You can you can probably see where this is going. The episode is called Thread Yellow. Dan is threatened by his wife making more money than he does being out on the job board. Even though he shouldn't, but that's what Democrats and liberals think conservatives are like. Or at least that's what they need other more impressionable people to think conservatives are like. Even though women could get jobs, dating in back centuries. They've been working outside the home, they've been doing all that, but apparently it's supposed to be a new phenomenon. It's supposed to be a new phenomenon that only arose in the past decade or two. But we get Francine the family going out to dinner to celebrate a paycheck, and hey, being the year-old that she is, she makes a toast to mom for asserting her authority as a strong, independent woman, or whatever she said. Even though, even though, there would be no reason for her to say something like that. But Ant's supposed to be insecure, so he's insecure. He's insecure in this episode. So we get Dan on the rooftop. This is more or less a joke, but we get Dan on the rooftop with a gun threatening to assassinate Francine because that's what conservatives are like. That what they like when they feel threatened or something. It's a weird joke, but like I say, the perception that they have to perpetuate is that all conservatives are like this. It gets this this show really gets better in season 2. It has some good episodes in season 1, but it really gets better in season 2 when it goes away from some of the conservative bashing that's out. This show pretends to be bipartisan, but it's really not. So we get that. We get some other hijinks from Stan that result in the kills of Francine's birthday establishment, but apparently Francine's working from home. Francine is on call working from home. Then we get the episode picking up with Steve and Hay. Steve tried to Steve wants to get a game station. So Steve is trying to figure out a way to get some money. So he sees a bunch of homeless people that Hay helps out. So he tried to get money off that because apparently they'll fight for anything. They'll fight for comforter that would fight for shelter. So Steve tried to get money off of that for charging people for bum fights, as they call them. So Dan comes across Hay and Steve arguing, and yeah, like I say, Dan is still insecure. Is still insecure at this point about Francine for some reason. So Dan comes across Steve and Hay arguing about it, and and Dan goes to Steve. Am I to assume you're that you're pitting the desperate, downtrodden men against each other for sport and for payment? Steve says, "Yeah, yes, sir, that's what I'm doing." He acts all sad about it because he thinks Dan is gonna get onto him, but Dan wants in. Dan wants in. Dan wants in for bum fight and maybe participates himself, but he wants in to bring in more money, and or to bring in more money than Francine had used. So though Francine doesn't know about any of this, Dan goes into this endeavor, and we wrap up the episode. I'm just gonna they do a wrestling event. So all in all the whole thing takes a few minutes to wrap up. So they do a wrestling event. Dan gives them characters and backstories and everything. But one guy challenges them. He challenges the guy on the I can't really remember. So so he challenges them, this other guy, and they go hand to hand, and he says, "Oh, Dad, you're a weapon expert." When the last time you fought hand to hand, which I'm surprised he even knows what a dad does. I mean, I'm very surprised he even knows what a dad does. But he says he's a women expert, and like I say, Dan is having some confidence issues. So Dan goes to fight this guy, and this guy just beating the crap out of Dan, which doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I guess a homeless guy, he'd have to fight for everything he has, so to speak. But Dan's a trained CIA agent. I don't really, it's not really believable that this homeless, inexperienced, untrained guy would beat him up like he is. But anyway, Francine comes to encourage him, and Dan just punches the guy in the eye to the feather, and the guy just goes down. So Steve and Hay eventually reveal they paid this guy to take a dive because they knew Dan was having some self-confidence issues in this episode, apparently. And then we get some more of the episode. We get some more of the episode that Francine spelled out for us. Don't you see, we're a team, and you don't need to feel threatened by me. And Dan says, "Oh, you mean when you succeed, I succeed?" Well, okay, that would be a good message, but the message is that would be a good enough message if the episode didn't just tell me that if the episode didn't tell me that the woman need to work outside the home to feel fulfilled, and and that and that the men and women need to be pitted. Indeed, the woman needs to be pitted against the man to feel superior. They need to go against each other in the marriage to make the who makes the better paycheck and they make the most money and everything. Which I'm surprised with this Pyongyang will come back around in a 8 episode, maybe even the next few episodes, and Dan has no problem with it. So yeah, this is a good enough episode for what it is. But it just could have been better if the moral was executed. If the moral was executed better, yeah. The the method can't be teamwork. If the episode is gonna tell me, oh, the women need to work outside the home, and the women need to feel superior, the man feels emasculated. It's never also I did right. That moral, I mean that moral, I mean that moral wouldn't work if it was that moral doesn't work if it's a man. If it's a man doing it, it's only the woman who had to kind of reassure the man. So that's the end. So that's the end of the episode. And again, you can't say that Dan does not go above and beyond for his wife when she wants something. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. These next three episodes seem to get a lot better. Particularly, I'm looking forward to the next episode because it's become one of my low key favorites. But yeah, thanks for getting in my. It's nice to meet you too. Thanks for listening to my review, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, there we go. Okay.